Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? Now listen, there's no doubt about it. Jon Jones is the greatest MMA fighter of all time. Floyd Mayweather is the greatest boxer of all time. But now we have another question. Who is the greatest athlete of all time? And could it possibly be Francis Ngannou? While all of us were extremely impressed to see Francis Ngannou's smooth transition from MMA to boxing, I don't think the majority of fans truly understand the scope of what Francis Ngannou pulled off this past weekend. For starters, you guys have to understand, boxing and MMA are two entirely different sports. And Francis Ngannou, he's never had one single amateur bout or one single professional bout going into this fight, fighting the heavyweight champion of the world. And he's fighting the best heavyweight champion in the division, and he's fighting him in a 10-rounder in his pro debut. And almost everyone, especially the experts, the boxing experts that have been in the ring, believe that Francis Ngannou won this fight, boxer or MMA fighter. And speaking of everyone who's saying that Francis Ngannou won this fight, let me give you guys a little bit of contrast. You guys remember when Devin Haney beat Lomachenko, right? Well, when Devin Haney beat Lomachenko, if you guys really paid attention, what you will notice is it was mainly just boxing fans, mainly on the internet, saying that Lomachenko was robbed. When it comes to this fight in particular, the majority of people that are saying this was a robbery are professional fighters. And that's a huge difference because the majority of fans on the internet are race fans and they have an agenda. The vast majority of professional fighters, they don't have an agenda when they do an interview and they tell you who they thought won the fight. Once again, when you look at the dichotomy and it comes to the Lomachenko fight, actually, it was the contrary. A lot of the boxing experts were the ones that were coming out disagreeing with the fans, saying this wasn't a robbery. You know, I could clearly see Devin Haney winning this fight, or this was close enough to go either way. They're not reacting the way they are reacting when it comes to this Tyson Fury, Francis Ngannou fight is my point. When it comes to this fight, at least 90 to 85% of them are saying that this was a complete robbery. And none of the fans that were saying that Lomachenko was robbed are now saying that Francis Ngannou was robbed. You think that's a coincidence? We know what time it is. But don't just take my word for it. Go ahead and ask one of your friends, one of your co-workers. Ask them, one of those guys who said that Lomachenko was robbed, ask them what they thought about this fight. So with that being said, let me get back to my main point of the video. So Francis Ngannou, once again, I don't think people really understand how impressive this victory, because that's what it was, this victory over the heavyweight champion was. Let's talk about the road to being a champion, a professional world champion in the sport of boxing. You guys all know it usually takes a lot of work to reach that point of fighting for a world title, becoming a champion or one of the best fighters in the world, right? Beating the best fighter in the world. That's not something that happens overnight. In fact, usually a boxer will fight as an amateur for years and years and years, right? Try to make it to the Olympics. Then after the Olympics, they finally turn pro. And what do? They basically start their career all the way over. Why? Because the amateurs and the pros are almost two entirely different sports. So they completely start over with a brand new boxing record and everything. And they start fighting in 4-rounders. And they will fight in 4-rounders for a couple of fights. Then it goes to 6 rounds, 8 rounds, et cetera, right? And then about 2 or 3 or 4 years after they turn pro, they finally fight for a world title. When it comes to the road to being the champion, I'm talking about a professional champion. The average boxer, he starts boxing around 8 to 10 years old, right? And a lot of fighters, if they're lucky, they'll get a title shot by the time they're around 23 years old. So if you do the math, that means the average boxer needs about 15 years to prepare for a world title shot, fighting one of the best fighters in that division, if not the best. Guys, Ngannou didn't just skip college to go to the pros. He skipped high school. He skipped elementary. He skipped kindergarten. And not only just went pro, but beat the best heavyweight champion in the division with 0 experience. I mean, I want you guys to just really think about this. When Canelo Alvarez lost to Floyd Mayweather, what excuses did Canelo Alvarez fans make? They said he only lost because it was a lack of experience, right? Canelo Alvarez was 23 years old. He was already a two-time world champion. He had just beat Austin Trout. He was already a professional fighter. At that time, he was already a professional fighter for, I believe, 7 years. And he was completely dominated by Floyd Mayweather. The fight wasn't even competitive. And he had a massive weight advantage. He was way stronger than Floyd Mayweather and way younger than him, right? So how was Ngannou able to beat the heavyweight champion, the best heavyweight in the division, with zero experience? Not 7 years as a pro, like Canelo Alvarez, not a two-time champion, zero experience. And old media, along with Shakur Stevenson, has been calling Tyson Fury one of the greatest heavyweight fighters of all time. And once again, according to Shakur Stevenson, he beats Muhammad Ali. And Shakur also said he can't see any other heavyweight of any era beating Tyson Fury. That's who Francis Ngannou just beat, with not one single amateur fight, not one single professional fight. MMA and boxing are as different as basketball and baseball. Just because you run fast and you're athletic does not mean you're going to be successful in both sports. Michael Jordan can tell you that, right? Michael Jordan was unsuccessful in his baseball career. But unlike Francis Ngannou, Michael Jordan actually had a lot of experience when it comes to playing baseball. He played baseball as a kid. And I'm not talking about just for fun. This is what makes what Francis Ngannou did this past weekend so special. And the question really does need to be asked. Is he the greatest athlete of all time? To transition over to another sport you have zero experience in and beat the best fighter in that division, it is extremely historic and unprecedented. Despite the fact that he did not get the decision that he deserved, everyone got to see it with their own eyes. If Francis Ngannou could do this to Tyson Fury with zero experience in the sport of boxing, imagine if he had any kind of experience. Imagine if he had like 5 or 10 fights to prepare him for this fight. While you had all these other MMA fighters that would come over to the sport of boxing and completely get embarrassed, Francis Ngannou, he looked for the biggest, strongest, tallest tree to challenge. And that big-ass tree came tumbling down. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one.
Let me tell you guys about Issa Israel Law Firm. It is a full-service legal practice based in Denver, Colorado, an emerging hub for combat sports and high-altitude training. If you're a fighter inside or outside of the ring and you need a law firm you can trust to fight for you, visit thefighterfirm.com or email help@iilawfirm.com. Legal representation is usually limited to plaintiffs or defendants in Colorado, but iFirm can help anyone in the world with trademarking their business name, logos, and U.S. immigration issues. This brother has been my attorney for a while and helped guide me through all kinds of business and civil issues, so make sure you guys go to thefighterfirm.com. All right, now check this out, guys. If you're looking to repair eczema scars, burns and bruises, dark spots and blemishes, the
Fever blisters, diabetic ulcers.
this right here is the perfect product for you guys. It's called LO Key Face and Body Oil. Athletes and top-ranking boxers, they're also using it after training to reduce swelling, inflammation, and to ease the pain. So get yours today. Go to LODkey.com.
Like them on Facebook and follow them on Instagram.